Welcome to our webinar on the future of bar design. The webinar is accurately titled, The Future of Bar Design is Here, because we're going to go through several new capabilities, products, and other offerings that Crown now has. I'm also here with Troy Clarke, one of our bartender ambassadors. So we're going to quickly introduce ourselves, break down why we're here, what we're going to talk about, and a little history on ourselves. So again, my name is Kyle Forman. I'm the owner of Crown Metal, which is a third-generation family-owned business. We've been manufacturing in the USA for over 72 years. In the last 5 or 6 years, we've really adapted to the modern era as far as digital technology, digital capabilities go. And with that, we really dove headfirst into augmented reality, virtual reality, and a lot of other really cool pieces of software that have helped us elevate the bar design experience for our customers. And we're going to go through that today with you on the webinar. I'm also here with Troy Clarke, one of our all-star bartender ambassadors. Troy and I established a relationship with his company, 1224 Cocktails, and my company, Crown Metal, about 5 to 6 months ago, after a lot of talking and sort of collaborating and coming up with different ideas of how best to work together. So Troy brought his team with him, a team of 5 world-class award-winning bartenders, and they work with Crown on a daily basis to elevate the design experience and work collaboratively with our customers as well. So Troy, I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit as well.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here to talk about a topic that we're both extremely passionate about, bar design and the future of the equipment. As Kyle mentioned, I'm the owner of 1224 Cocktails. I also am the director of Mixology and Spirits Educator at the Martignetti companies. And our team at 1224 has been nothing but ecstatic about this partnership to really help bridge the gaps for bars and restaurants and helping to streamline things to make better experiences for bartenders and restaurant owners when they're behind the bar and building out bars. Just like kitchens have really come a long way on how they're laid out, we're hoping to continue to move the front of the house experience to that same level of thoughtfulness when you're designing your bars and restaurants. So I think you're going to be really excited about some of the things that are already here and some of the things that are coming down the road. So we're really excited about this partnership.
Perfect. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Troy. So a little breakdown on Crown and a little bit of history as well. As you can see on the left, it's 3 generations. I represent the 3rd generation of Crown ownership. We've been in business for a little over 72 years. So there's quite a bit of experience and history that goes into the company as well. And we're now at over 200,000 square feet of manufacturing space right in the USA. So big focus on US manufacturing, which has been really critical to our operations, our quality, the longevity of our product. And that's a staple with Crown. It's not something we plan on changing ever. We continue to invest in the U.S., invest in our factories, invest in robotic machinery, and we feel that's a real strength, a core part of what makes Crown Crown, and definitely going to continue that direction, expand in the U.S., and continue to expand our footprint here. A little history on Crown. I think this is pretty cool to just give a little background and show where Crown was to where Crown is now and sort of what transpired the years in between. So Crown then started in 1949. You can see a little history right here on the left side. That's one of our original price documents, which is pretty cool to see. Right next to that, that's one of our early trade show booths. You can also see there it's a very standard offering of Crown equipment. There's not really any type of custom there. There's not any type of underbar equipment that's built for sort of craft cocktail environments, like bar sinks, drain board storage, and that's really it. But at the time, that was pretty innovative. You know, prior to that, it was just cabinets, really, even just wooden cabinets behind a bar. So it wasn't very efficient. It wasn't easy to work with. In 1970, that's when we really started to push and develop our 3 and 4 compartment bar sinks, which again, at the time was really taking sanitation to the next level. Moving forward from there, in 1980, we launched our wall mount and pedestal-based hand sinks. Again, that was a new product at the time, something we really felt was helping develop the industry. In 1988, that's when we were starting to create these combination units that serve multiple purposes in one unit. Moving forward from there, 1989, that's another trade show booth. with one of our very retro old Crown logos. 1999, that's when we first started experimenting with the craft cocktail world. As you can see in the back of the ice bin, we're using that dead space for garnishes, something that's still utilized to this day. You can even see there's a step underneath to hold anything that you would want underneath the equipment instead of your legs just sitting there and wasting space. So at the time, that was quite innovative. 2001 shows another trade show booth as we were starting to develop out our modular solutions. 2006 is when we started to really get into stadium build-outs and modular bar die build-outs. So you can see that's Yankee Stadium right there, which we did all custom modular bar dies for. And throughout this entire sort of history and events that you've been seeing, every 5 years, we underwent a major expansion with our facilities. So usually that meant acquiring another building or expanding an existing building. 2010, you can see a second building was purchased there. And in 2017, it was expanded to the building you can see right at the top here with the blue stripes on it. So that is what brought us up to our current 200,000 square feet, which has allowed us to really develop a lot of new products, bring on more engineers, more developers, and work with bigger clients like Raider Stadium, as you can see in 2019. 2020 shows one of our most recent price lists, which we're pretty proud of. Between 2018 and 2019 alone, with our growing group of developers and engineers, we were able to release 250 new products. And for 2021, we plan to have that be around 300 new products. So you can see the rate of the acceleration of growth of new products has really, really grown substantially. It's something that we've invested heavily, R&D. And that's really what this ambassador program encompasses as well. It's us strategically working with a group of world-class bartenders to figure out what do bartenders need, how can we build it, and how can we get it out to the market in a way that's cost-effective for customers to purchase. So that's what we're really going to dive into today. But before we did, I just wanted to give you a little history on Crown so you understood where we're coming from and where we plan to go. So first slide is going to go into sort of the flexibility of the Crown line, the interchangeability and the modularity of the Crown line. Obviously, you can see on the left, no bar is the same. This is something that I've understood from thousands of conversations with bartenders, consultants, and designers. This is something that Troy will definitely speak on as well. So the big thing with the Crown line is we don't come to you with one workstation and say, hey, this is the perfect station. This is the one you have to use. That's not how it works with us. We understand that every bar has to be tailored. Every workstation has to be tailored for that application. So instead, we have thousands of pieces that you can use sort of as a puzzle pieces and put them together in any order that you think will work best for your environment.
Yeah, Kyle, I think that's a really key component to your foundation of your line of equipment that's important to bar owners. I mean, as you talk about it, when we go out, you know, we're thinking about where we want to eat for dinner. You know, there's all different types of food atmospheres and things like that. So no restaurant is the same. No beverage program is the same. And as a bartender or beverage director, or as an owner, as you're developing your concept and what you want to try to achieve for your customers, the flexibility of being able to pick your pieces of equipment that tailored to, I'm a wine bar, or, you know, I want to be more heavy centric to beer, or I want to be really cocktail driven, or I want to hit on all different things. And, you know, I think that being able to not have to just have one piece of equipment and, oh, it doesn't fit, so now I can't use it, I can't be efficient, or I think those are really great talking points about what makes Crown and the flexibility of building your own bar. And you don't have to do custom, right? So these are all things that are standard offerings that allow you to make something custom to the style of restaurant or bar that you're designing.
Absolutely. And listen, we get it. We know that the needs will vastly change bar to bar. So even in this example, you can see right here, you know, on the left side, you have a garnish station with ice underneath it to chill. Right next to that, you have an elixir bottle storage area. Then you have 3 compartments for ice. You know, in another bar, that may be totally useless, 3 compartments for ice, and they may want that for something else. So the nice part is our accessories that drop into these are removable. So if you want to change this, or a new bar manager comes in and they want to change the beverage program, you can pull out this elixir divider insert, this garnish insert, these removable dividers, and you can retrofit that bar or entirely change that bar station without having to redo all the bar equipment. So that interchangeability really is key in this part of bar design. A next
Plus, it also allows you to have flexibility there too when you're changing your menu. So, you know, if when you change your menu, you don't need the elixir bottle station to have as many bottles, but you're changing it up to needing more, you know, maybe batch cocktails or something like that. You can take the dividers out of that elixir station and now hold larger formats, but still use that same piece of equipment as your beverage program evolves or whatever it is, as things change. That equipment has some real flexibility within it. So I think that's another key talking point.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Troy. And that sort of segues into our next, you know, this is a real core belief at Crown and something that we spend a lot of time figuring out how we can achieve this on every single project we design. And that's called zero-step speed workstations. So no matter what bar it is, if it's a sports bar, a craft cocktail bar, a wedding event bar, whatever it is, we have to figure out what the needs of that restaurant are. What does the beverage program look like? What types of ingredients are they using? And then once we collect all of that information, how can we design a station that allows them to make every single drink on that beverage program without having to take a single step? Why? Because every step that's required to be taken reduces the efficiency, which reduces the profit and the overall basically working efficiency of each bartender. So what we do is we don't come to you and say, hey, here's our zero-step speed workstation, and there's only, you know, 4 of them. That's not how we work. Instead, there could be 5,000 different zero-step speed workstations that we offer, but they're all tailored and cultivated for each environment that we're building them into. So instead of us coming to you with a standard offering, we thoughtfully discuss the program, understand it, address each concern, and then build stations that work best within your environment.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it for years, least amount of steps, most amount of money. And this is a true demonstration of when you're building your program, taking that thoughtfulness into the design and saying, least amount of steps, most amount of money. How do I take that into where I'm putting my pieces of equipment? What am I trying to achieve? What kind of program am I building? And how am I going to be able to execute that? And I love this philosophy. And this really speaks to, I think, bar owners and beverage directors as they're trying to be as efficient and get drinks out as fast as possible to our customers. Taking this approach when designing bars and renovating them, I think is a really solid thought process.
Absolutely. So moving forward from there, we sort of addressed some of the initial design approaches that we take, that Crown takes. But what we want to go through next before we get into our new innovative items is items that we offer now that are trending at the moment, given the current pandemic and other events that may create spikes in demand for product. So one of the, a product that we released maybe almost 2 years ago at this point, that's become wildly popular in the last 6 months, really, since the pandemic really hit the USA, is our liquid CO2 glass frosters. And originally, when we had brought them in, the sanitized portion was an important key factor, but it wasn't the number one key factor. Well, that's changed pretty significantly, obviously, because of the pandemic. So these CO2 frosters it's a really cool piece of technology because what it does is it instantly frosts the glass, which it does it in about 2 to 3 seconds. One 20-pound tank on our unit also is highly efficient. That can work for about 300 to 500 glasses. So it's an efficient unit. It's very different from that standard CO2 froster that comes from the top that many of you may have seen. That creates a lot of CO2 waste. This version really directs the CO2 right into the glass, which is important. Because the CO2 comes out as a dry gas, it eliminates thermal cracking or thermal breaking of the glass because it's not creating condensation within the glass, which is also very important. And it also neutralizes your glass when it comes out of a glass washer. No one wants a hot glass served to them with a cold cocktail in it, so that's important. But the number one feature is that it instantly sanitizes your glass. And that's why this has become so popular. We have bars, almost every bar we're designing now, we're building these into them because not only do they want to take that extra step to ensure their client safety, but this is something that the patrons of their restaurant will see them utilizing. They're going to ask, what is that? And they'll explain, well, this not only frosts it, but it sanitizes your glass to keep you safe. That's a big statement piece and something that's really going to stand out in a customer's eyes. So the reason that we got into it and that it's been so successful is it's very multifunctional, has a lot of benefits to it. And what we did is we expanded the type of offerings we have in it. So it's not just one piece. On the left side, you can see we have a drain board cabinet. So this will fit in flush next to any other piece of underbar equipment you have right now, and it stores the tank right underneath it. You can retrofit this in an existing application. So that's a nice feature. On the right side, you have a tabletop unit. Pretty simple, just will sit directly on your bar top. So that can be added at any point. We have a drop-in unit right over here, which they can have a mill worker cut out, do a cutout in the bar top. That's great because the bartender, the customers can see it while the bartender's using it, but it's still flush mounted within your bar top. And then we have a glass froster cabinet in the back, which will line up flush with your back bar equipment.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the cool feature here as we think about it, you know, yeah, it's nice to see the show and, you know, the colors that come up sometimes, or, you know, the frosting gas. But let's think about it from being a little bit more green in a sense. We don't have to have coolers running 24/7, you know, keeping glassware chilled. We're not putting glassware in coolers that they shouldn't be. For, you know, like when they fall over because they're in the wrong thing, or they don't stack properly, and then you shatter all that glass when you need it, you know, need them most, when you're the busiest. So there's a lot of functionality from there. Also, when you talked about it earlier, Kyle, you mentioned that you come out of the dish machine, you're out of glassware, and you need those glasses, you got to cool them down. It's a quick hit. Not every glass has to be frosted to the point where it's completely, well, chilled to the point where it's completely frosted. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just want to put a little chill on the glass, so to you know, because it's warm. So you have that flexibility. So there's a lot of different reasons on top of the sanitation and things like that. I think that it offers you on-demand opportunity, and you're reducing waste. So I think that something like that is great.
Yeah, that's a really good point you bring up, Troy, because there is a lot of waste happening on this planet in many different businesses, many different ways, and finding ways we can cut down on that a bit while still achieving, you know, an ideal outcome, or still getting, you know, the product that you want to get out of something is important. And that's an approach we've taken to our refrigeration, our glass frosters, many things outside of just this product line. I think that was, you know, sustainability. That's a really good topic to hit on, Troy. Completely agree. Another trending item right now is draft cocktails. Obviously, that's become huge given takeout cocktails, which have become really popular due to the pandemic. So what we did is we took the guesswork out of it. We saw a lot of people sort of creating these, you know, at-home setups and then trying to integrate them into a business draft cocktail environment, and it just wasn't really working that well. So what we did is we created a kit that includes all the components you need to not only do draft cocktails efficiently, but to do them effectively. And the way we did that is we built we came together with a kit that includes your corny keg. So the corny keg has a removable lid. You can create your batch cocktails in there, and it has all the other tools. But the most important is it has a recirculating pump, which is critical to allow your batch cocktails to remain mixed at the perfect level. So every single person is getting the same taste profile, the same amount of alcohol. All of that is critical when you're serving things on batch, and this system achieves that.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So there's a couple things here about draft cocktails, and I know that probably a lot of the people that are listening here are very familiar with that, or maybe even are featuring a lot of draft cocktails. You know, with the circulator pump, it really allows for you to use things with citrus and things that need to be constantly shaken up, so that they don't separate in the keg and you only get the top of it or just the bottom of it, depending on where it's pulling from, right? So I think that having that is really important, so you can get that consistency level. But why are draft cocktails a really great option? So think about, you know, if you have some beer lines or draft lines in your bar or restaurant, to be able to take more complex, multi-step cocktails and put them on draft really allows for you to increase the speed, efficiency. But think about it right now in the pandemic, a lot of places across the country, maybe their bars aren't completely open, so bartenders are taking tables, so then they're not able to maybe make all the drinks. I've seen a lot of places where servers and bartenders are making the drinks. So to create that consistency for people that don't know how to make the drinks at the same level, being able to pull it on draft really does help create a more efficient and more consistent outcome for their customers. And also think about from a cost standpoint, it's perfectly mixed when it goes into the batch, so you're driving more profit on those cocktails where spirits are already the most profitable thing behind a bar. So it just helps with driving more dollars for your establishment on top of that.
Okay, so and just going off what Troy said, that's more critical than ever, maximizing your profit potential. Because as you can imagine, restaurants being forced to be closed for month after month after month and now running at limited capacity, profit is more of a focal point than ever before. And this is a really, really, really good way to help maximize profits, offer takeout, carry out cocktails, and do it efficiently. So we highly recommend this. It's a kit that's available right now. It's our BC-907. And if you're interested, you can reach out to us after the webinar. So another new piece of equipment we came out with, again, this is something that's trending right now, and I don't see this going away anytime soon. This is our dual temp ice freezer. This unit was created for two purposes. The back portion, as you can see here with a telescopic lid above it, is for large format ice. That is critical because a lot of these restaurants, a lot of these bars are now utilizing large format ice, which is expensive. And if you don't store it correctly, it ruins the look of it, it ruins the appeal, and it ruins the whole reason that you're serving it in the first place. So what this unit does in the back compartment is it keeps it set at -10 degrees and keeps that ice at the ideal temperature so that when it's served, it doesn't lose the look or appeal that you originally had it set for. The front compartment is a chilled open compartment for batch cocktails. So this unit in 12-inch wide by 24-inch deep will fit up next to any of your other bar equipment seamlessly. And it has dual temperature control, so you can adjust the back compartment and the front compartment. And it will store your ice in the back, batch cocktails in the front for easy access while still following that zero-step approach that we were talking about. Without a unit like this, you're either keeping that large format ice back in the kitchen or in an ice bin, which is not ideal because it will melt and run off, or somewhere else that's not in your zero-step zone. This was created to keep it all right in front of the bartender, keep them operating efficiently, and keep them from having to take several steps to prepare a cocktail.
Yeah, and once again, there's flexibility, right? You mentioned that the front can have for batch cocktails, whether you're batching with citrus hot in liters or 750s. But also, if you're not doing batch cocktails, you can keep your vermouths chilled, you can keep your sherries chilled, you can have white wine in these, champagne, Prosecco, whatever it is that you want to keep in chilled, that's right there next to the well, and it doesn't have to sit in ice and have all that water dripping from it, or maybe it's when it sits in the ice, the labels fall off. We've all been there, we've all done those things. So what we're trying to do is really correct some of these outcomes and make things easier for you to still achieve that same success to the customer. And give them what they want. And dry ice, right? I mean, we all know that the ice well, your ice just starts breaking down over time, right? So if I have large format ice and being able to hold it at a proper temperature, I'm not having any waste, especially if you're buying that large format ice and you're not making it in-house. Every time you lose an ice cube, those are dollars that hit the bottom line that you didn't get to recoup in an experience or in that drink cost. So really trying to protect the investment also on those things.
Completely agree, Troy. And that was another unit that we collaborated on. We created together. There was a lot of feedback between our ambassadors and Crown as we went through multiple versions of it. And that unit, we felt best achieved it because, again, it's that 24-inch front to back depth. It's going to line up next to all the rest of your equipment seamlessly, fits in perfectly. You can retrofit it in any job. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to us after the webinar. Another big thing is our speed stations. And what we decided when we approached our speed station and what we had seen some competitors do is it was sort of like a standard, hey, here's 5 different versions we offer. And we found out through conversations with bartenders, our ambassadors, consultants, that didn't really work with everyone. There's so many different needs. There's so many different sizing requirements. And if we're not flexible, we the end user would have to make sacrifices or they would have to go the custom route, which no one ideally wants to go because custom obviously is going to increase the price and increase the lead time. So instead what we did is we created 30 speed stations as standard offerings, no custom lead time. And that became really critical to our operation because going back to one of our earlier slides, it allows you to really plug and play with different pieces, put them in different order until you find something that works best for you. And whether it's 12-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch wide, we have it as a standard offering. You don't have to go the custom route. Now, it's important to know we do offer custom. We do quite a bit of custom every single day. But if we can achieve that same outcome for you without going the custom route, we think that's more beneficial for you as an end user, not having to pay sort of those increases to go the custom way.
Yeah, and I think, anytime you say the word custom to a restaurant owner or a beverage director, automatically they're like, well, we just won't do it, right? Because it's so expensive to do. So being able to have so much flexibility in plugging and playing really allows you to not sacrifice what you wanted to do and really achieve your beverage program without having to pay those premium prices. Because a lot of times people will just say, you know what, we'll just make do without it. And I think because there's so many options, it's pretty easy to be able to find a solution to what you are looking to achieve. So some really great stuff there.
So going into our refrigeration side, obviously refrigeration is a big portion of what we do at Crown. We spend a lot of time engineering, developing, and coming out with new solutions. And all of our refrigeration is made right here in the USA as well. So what we're showing here is just the configurability of our refrigeration units. You can really build them any way that you want. Let's say you get a 60-inch two-door unit. If you want one of the doors a standard hinge and the other one 2 sliding drawers, one for wine bottles and one for garnishes, that's completely fine. That's something we do every single day. We make the process easy. And again, you're not going that custom route. Now, we understand sliding drawer for garnishes may not be for everyone. It may not be for every application, but it is an offering we have because there are times when this is perfect. This is exactly what they need as a backup to their garnishes in front of them on the ice bin when they run out without having to go to a kitchen area. So it's just another good solution. It's something we wanted to break down and show you a little bit. And this is something, again, as sanitation becomes more and more critical, so does storing things properly. And a proper garnish refrigerator is really the best way to store your garnishes in a sanitary fashion rather than keeping them in an open, exposed area, especially when they're kept on the bar top. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of that moving forward. This is a great solution to offset that, take it off the bar, clear out that area, and keep it open for exchanging drinks with the patron and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I think, but to call out, from the application from, bar directors and beverage directors, opening a drawer for your garnishes is not efficient. Let's call it what it is. You're pumping out hundreds of drinks a night, opening a drawer every time you need to get a lemon slice or an orange or whatever it is. We recognize that, so the garnishes, the system that's set up with Crown are over your ice well, allowing that cool air to chill them at the same time. What the great thing about this, as Kyle talked about, configurable or flexible in the sense, those 9th pans don't have to be 9th pans. We can make them larger pans. We can make it where it's just a drawer and you can hold your quart containers. And then when you need to refill your garnish pans over your wells, they're right there next to you in a drawer. You don't have to go all the way back to the kitchen. So, whatever works for you, you can really change the look of it to make sure it works for your operation. This may work for some, but may not work for a lot of others. So we're not trying to say that the 9th pan drawer is, the end all be all. There's just so many options here. This is just one of many ways that you can actually have a solution. But you could also do, the quart containers or the larger pans or whatever you need.
So moving forward from there, this is our master tap, one of our direct draw coolers. Just showing you this as an example of our capabilities. We obviously offer this in many more sizes, many different tower configurations. So keep an eye out for this. These are becoming more and more popular as these draft cocktail kits become utilized more because in one self-contained unit, you can run 6, 8 different batch cocktails directly out of that unit. And the drain can be built into the unit as well. So you don't need to build in a floor drain. We can build in, a 4-gallon plastic tank in the back corner. So all of your runoff and all of your waste, if there is any, will drain right into that. and you can empty it at the end of the night. Saves a lot of time. Again, you don't have to worry about integrating a floor drain, which is not always the easiest process. And that's been really, really successful from a lot of the customers we've worked with. They love going that route.
Yeah, Kyle, I've worked on some projects recently, and this has been a huge thing because the restaurants, when they got to the bar design, all the drains were already mapped out. There was no option to put in or run draft lines. It wasn't something that was feasible. And to be able to, jump in a 5-foot unit or larger too, but we were able to put in 2 of them so that accounts, they could have one down by the service bar, one down by the other bartenders. They could mimic their lines. And then the configurations, as you can see here, so many different ways that you can, well, one line I need to have a full keg because this is, I go through so much of it. Okay, great. And then, you can make smaller portions. As you can see here, many different ways to do full kegs, half kegs, corny kegs, or 5 gallons, draft cocktails, draft wine, and draft beer. So you can really give a nice variety to your consumers and not have to worry about, well, we don't have the option to run draft lines. Now you don't have to worry about that, and you don't have to worry about the drain issue. So if you have a drain and you can run it right over it, it comes right around where the vent is. There's a drain that comes out. Or if you needed to self-contain, we can do that too. So there's so many ways to really help you achieve success and give those offerings to customers.
And even if you want a mobile solution, we can build our direct draw units on casters. We can have custom millwork built on the front of it to match whatever aesthetic your restaurant is built out to. And you can roll this unit right out, right in front of the customer, and serve draft cocktails on tap in that way as well. This just shows the flexibility, which I touched on before. So our refrigeration allows you to really play with the configuration and what door styles you want. So this unit kind of shows an example. On the left side, you have your sliding drawers for wine garnishes or whatever else you may want to keep in there. The center one is a stainless door. Typically, if they have unsightly things in there, maybe containers of orange juice that they don't want customers to see. And the right one can be a glass door. No custom, very easy to configure, right on our website. So just keep it in mind, it's not a standard refrigeration offering. We'll work with what you need for your restaurant, with what's going to work best, and we'll design it, build it right in-house, and ship it to you. So next, we're going to talk about really the transition of design, how it's changed, and how we're not only adapting, but leading the way in the bar design industry to really come up with better ways of proposing design and allowing customers to visualize and understand their design. So originally or traditionally, design used to be done, on a piece of graph paper by hand with a pencil, and that worked for a while. But then technology advanced, and they came out with 2D AutoCAD, which became a really, really good way to quickly put together layouts, show the dimensions, and a schedule, on the right side, and that worked really well. The problem with 2D AutoCAD is end users, restaurant owners, may not always understand exactly what they're getting because, again, it's just a 2D overhead view. That's not that helpful, and there's obviously issues associated with that. And what can happen is they order it thinking it looks one way, the equipment arrives, and it looks entirely different. The other thing with 2D AutoCAD is you're not seeing the whole picture. So little inefficiencies can be there that you wouldn't notice until the equipment is out in the field. So what we've done and where we've really led the way is on 3D and VR design. Right here gives you 2 different examples of 3D we do. One is on our BarFlex 3D configurator, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But the other one is where we can do a 3D design of you for your entire, bar area within your restaurant. So spatially, you can see how things fit. You can see how the equipment is going to fit with the refrigeration in the center, the spacing in between, really get a good understanding of what the restaurant is going to look like with that bar, and does anything need to be changed before you proceed. This has become more and more crucial as our equipment gets more and more complex, because it's no longer just, a 3-compartment bar sink and an ice bin. You now have glass rinsers built in, dipper wells, multiple ice compartments, all of these things that are built in that in 2D, it's really, really hard to get a good grasp and understanding of the equipment that you're buying.
Yeah, and I think just to clarify, we don't want to assume that everyone knows VR, virtual reality, right? I think that understanding what that means, and we're gonna show you a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But from designing bars for as long as I have and going out, hey, I can tell you firsthand how many times I've made a mistake, numerous times, because I missed something, or it didn't fit the right way, or something hit something because the door opened, and I was like, oh, you know, think about all the dollars that were missed, or the missed opportunity, or the inefficiencies that we've all done. We've all made those mistakes, right? So this really allows for you, when you're in the field and you're at the location, to really see how it's going to look and what it's going to feel like, and visualize that piece of equipment in your space just by seeing, you know, underneath it, top, side, full round view. It really helps you envision and enliven in your mind what it's going to experience, what that bar is going to feel like when you're designing it. So this has been huge. I've seen it firsthand when using it with bar owners, and it really helps complete the vision.
So moving on from that, and obviously the title of this is The Future of Bar Design is Here. Now, what we just went through prior to this was sort of trending items, some items that are sort of in development, but now we're going to talk about why the future of bar design is here and what Crown has done to really push that forward. So BarFlex 3D, we released about a year and a half ago, but since then we've been developing it and adding new versions to it really monthly. And it's really developed into this awesome new tool. And even in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're pushing a new version of it, which has a completely new look, new design, and it's more all-encompassing as far as bar design goes. But what BarFlex 3D does, and the problem that it solves, is it makes configuring a bar easy. It used to be just a really time-consuming, painful process, because the end user would look at a 2D drawing. They would say, okay, this looks good, but I want this piece over here, I want this shrunk down, and then I want this one over here. Send it back to us. We make the change, send it to them. Maybe a couple days later, they get a chance to review it. Same thing. Okay, this looks good, but I think the drain board should be on the left, and shrank down to 18 inches instead of 24 inches. And it ended up, it could take 3 weeks. Even if we sent back the design within 20 minutes of them sending to it, the whole process would just really drag things out. And then the issue was, next thing you know, the restaurant needs that equipment tomorrow. What BarFlex 3D does is it gives the tools directly to the restaurant owner, directly to the bartender, to go onto our website and in real time create a 3D workstation to your exact configuration without utilizing any custom. So it's instant 3D rendering, and there's over 15,000 different configurations that are built into this configurator. So I think it's a really, really awesome, powerful tool, and I'm just going to give a real quick demo on it right now, so that you can all see.
Yeah, I think the cool thing that when you develop this with your team is that you don't need to download any software. I thought that was brilliant, because now it really makes it really user friendly. I don't have to add anything onto my computer to be able to design my bar and access this, and to really play around and see, okay, what do I want it to look like? What do I want it to feel like? And as Kyle mentioned, there will be more coming into BarFlex, and one of those features is going to be able to build your back bar. So currently, right now, we're talking about just the underbar portion, but there will be that added value of being able to design your back bar into it. So you'll be able to add those draft lines behind you if you wanted to, if you wanted to put some spacers in for glass racks, and all the complete build front and back of what would your bar feel like will all be able to be done through BarFlex. This is huge, because as we all know, as you're building this, we used to have to wait for that third party or whoever it was to meet with them, show them the pieces of equipment that we wanted. Then they would get it, then they'd have to put it into the format for you, then we'd wait for it to come back, and we still wouldn't know what it feels like. Now you get to physically feel that design, and you can sit there and look at it and figure out the motions of what you're going to grab and see it, and figure out your inefficiencies and efficiencies all right there on your time. So if it's 3 o'clock in the morning because you just got off shift and that's when you want to start working on it, you can. You want to do it tomorrow at 11 a.m., you can do it. So full flexibility on your time, not on anybody else's time. I think that's really critical.
Absolutely. I think those were all really good points. And to show people how to get to this configurator, if you go to crown.com, like you saw before, you hover over configurators, we have a bar one and a faucet one. If you click Barflex 3D, what it will do is it will load right onto that new configurator. If you scroll down, it's going to start you out with 4 options. First one is build your own station. This is great if you want to experiment on your own. Utilize our offerings, build a station that works perfectly for you. The second is pick from our favorites. These were workstations that were designed for different applications that we worked on with our bartender ambassador to create the best workstation for different types of applications. Now, that doesn't mean they're perfect for every single one. So once you pick from our favorite, you can edit it after, you can make changes, move equipment around, delete, add things. It's very, very easy to work with. Barflex 3D Wizard asks you a series of 11 questions. Once you answer all of them, it will design the bar for you based on your answers to those questions, and then there's a tutorial video. So for sake of this example, we're going to build our own station. The first question is modular bar die or traditional legs. As you can see, modular bar die is recommended. Anything that's total gut and renovation or new construction, we always recommend going modular bar die. I'll show it to you once the 3D comes up, but essentially the way to think of it is it ships in pre-built sections up to 7 feet with your bar wall attached to it. So typically when you bring equipment in on legs, what happens is you have to have a mill worker come in, build a bar wall on the back, cut out your chaseways for your electric, plumbing, all of that, and then assemble all the pieces of equipment and attach it to the wall, which can take 2 to 3 days. When it comes on a modular bar die, the whole bar can be installed in less than 2 hours. So big advantage there. Once we're here, you can start building. So as you can see, we have a bunch of different categories. Let's start with the ice bin at the top. Click 30-inch ice bin. All your options pop up. So say you want a 10-circuit cold plate, a blue LED light above there, a 30-inch garnish station, maybe one ice divider, so you have 2 different types of ice, a 30-inch single speed rail, and we'll go with a left side. Actually, we'll go with the right side splash. The cool thing about this is you'll notice as I choose options, ones that are no longer compatible gray out. This is critical because there's so many different options. It's kind of hard sometimes for people to know what works with what from the catalog. This takes the guesswork out of it. Then you hit add product. You'll see it building right on the top in that blue box. Once the unit is built, you can see the dimensions. You can rotate it to see it from all different sides. You can even see the bar die I was talking about here. So as you can see, it's built to that bar die wall. You can zoom in to see specifics on it. Zoom back out. Okay, next, say they want to put in a 6-inch insulated well. Again, you can put a speed rail in front of it, maybe a wire bottle rack inside, and an outlet above that one. Add product, it'll build that. Next, say they want a 12-inch liquor step. Again, with a light above it, easy to add. From there, you can put in a dual glass rinser dump sink. That's what they were interested in, with a stainless perforated insert. Moving forward, then say they want to put in a 18-inch drain board, as you can see here, and say they want a single speed rail again, and a blue LED light. You'll hit add product. It'll build that on. So now you can see in the matter of maybe a minute or two, we just built the bar. You can see all different angles, real-time 3D, what that bar looks like. You can see the dimensions right above it. And say you get to this stage and it looks good, but you want to make a change. Maybe you want to move the liquor display to the left side of the ice bin. Go to 2D mode, click here, shift it over, go back to 3D, change is done. So this is instantaneous. It doesn't require this back and forth with the factory, and it gives you real-time 3D. Once you get to this point and say you're happy with the workstation, you go to review, gives you a full breakdown of what you're getting, submit, you put your information here, and this will send directly to us. Instantly, we'll get you connected with a dealer, one of our representatives, and we'll get the ball rolling. So this saves a lot of time and allows you to configure a bar that's perfect for your environment. Like Troy mentioned before too, our new version is going to let you do the entire bar. So it will have angles in there. You could do any shape bar. It will have refrigeration. And we're eventually going to make an actual real bar feature that will outfit it with a bar top, liquor bottles, everything to really give it a bar feel. And then there will be a virtual reality button in the top left corner. So if you do have VR goggles available, once you design this, click that VR button. This will be available in about 2 weeks. And you can actually walk around the bar you just designed in virtual reality, which we think is a pretty cool feature. It's really going to help elevate the design experience for our clients, and it's something we're going to continue developing over the course of the next year.
Yeah, and these are all the standard offerings. So, you know, this isn't doing anything custom. This isn't costing you more money. This is all complementary in a sense when you're designing and building your bar. So this is a great feature that doesn't require you to have to spend anything to see what you want to build or how you want it to feel. And I think those are all really, really critical points.
Mm-hmm. So virtual reality, we talked about that before. This is another design service that we offer for free, but we really took it to the next level with the virtual reality demos that we create. Now, virtual reality has existed for a while now, and even in our industry, there has been some virtual reality sort of exploration of the tool. The issue, though, is it was very basic VR. And what I mean by that is there's VR where you sort of just look at things and you can walk around it and that's it. And then there's VR where it's fully interactive and fully immersive. We wanted to go the fully interactive, fully immersive route so that we could get more out of our VR demos. So what we did is we hired a former video game programmer who came in here and created a VR world and VR equipment that you can actually interact with to simulate the bartending experience. So what I mean by that is, and I'll show you in a video shortly, our VR environment allows the user to actually pick up bottles, interact with them. You can actually pour contents out of the bottles, open equipment, open refrigerators, really understand and simulate that workflow, because without that, you can't really determine, is this layout optimal? Is there issues with it? You know, unless you're actually able to simulate that bartending workflow, it's going to be really, really hard to do any of that. So we took it that next level. We even created blockers within the VR environment. So if you try to pass through a piece of equipment with your hand, it will not let you do that. So that's critical because we had design recently where there's a side splash they really wanted in one location and we were recommending against it. In the VR demo, they kept hitting a glass into it and they realized this is going to happen every single time we go to create a cocktail and we'll be stuck with this side splash forever. So instead, before they placed any order, in VR, they determined that, made the change, and when the equipment came, it was exactly what they needed. The other important thing about these VR demos is it allows us to perform a footstep analysis so that we can look, are any footsteps required when they're creating cocktails in this VR environment? If they're not, perfect, we achieved the design we needed. Well, if they do, we have to change things around to achieve that. The other good thing is we can make bartender training programs that the bartenders can use while the equipment is being manufactured. So recently we did this, and what happens is we send the VR package to them. They bring their bartenders into the VR environment and start running them through training exercises. So by the time the equipment arrives, the bartenders are already fluid and comfortable behind that exact bar station.
Yeah, it really saves a lot of time and makes people feel more comfortable, because we all, the first time you get behind someone else's bar, you're like, where is it? Where do I get things? You're feeling a little uncomfortable. It's not like your own bar where you've been working for years, especially if you go to a new place or whatever it is. And, a great example of using the VR is Kyle mentioned earlier. We worked on this design with Taffer's Tavern, where when we were designing it and we were going through it and we were building it and we put everything in, there was a cooler door to a dishwasher. So this is great because Kyle and I, as we talked about, used VR to help us as we were designing this bar with Taffer's Tavern, and we were placing the equipment and putting everything in place. We realized that one of the dishwashers and one of the coolers, when we were opening the door and opening the other door, they were knocking into one another and we weren't able to access the full door or the dishwasher. So as a result of that, we were able to make that change right then and there before a single piece of equipment was produced or any time or waste was done. Sometimes, come in the field, if you don't make these changes, either A, you have to send back the equipment, so there's loss of time, could delay your bar to be fully functional, or potentially even open if it's a dishwasher or whatever it is. And then also just think about loss of money there, right? What if you have to keep that and you have to buy something completely new? Or on our side, it just sits there until it can be resold again. So a lot of advantages of having this VR capability to really see the flow and the experience that you're going to experience on a nightly basis in your environment before you even spent a single dollar. Because there's no cost to do this. There's no added charge to when you're working. This is all part of when you're working with Crown and you're doing these projects. These are the added benefits that are there for you to make sure that you're making the best possible experience based on your concept.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, once we use this, the original purpose of the VR with Taffer's team and with many of our projects is to first get the approval to move forward with the drawings, to move forward with the design. So they first use it, they have the bartender simulate their workflow, determine, okay, 0 step, that's done. There's no interference. All the equipment works very, very cohesively and well together. So once it was approved, this file was then used by their bartenders to go through hours and hours of training, bartender training in this environment, because between the equipment arriving and the opening date of their first location, there's so little time that the more time they can spend training them before the equipment comes in, the better those bartenders are going to operate on opening day. So that became really, really critical to their operation, especially when openings are under the gun and they're under a tight time frame. So that really, really came into play here. Okay, so the next piece of technology we're going to show you is augmented reality. This is something we've been experimenting with for a while. This is actually a design we're going to show that's in our factory. The really, really cool thing about augmented reality, and the reason why I like it, is I actually feel it's even more practical than VR. VR is great for training exercises, for those approvals, but AR is awesome because you can actually project the equipment into the real environment it's going to be installed in. So as you can imagine, say you own a restaurant and there's a bar area downstairs, and we designed, a circular bar or an oval-shaped bar that's complex. There's a lot of angles to it, and you're not sure how spatially it's going to fit in your bar. Well, with augmented reality, we can design the bar for you, send it to you. You can take an iPad out, and on the camera, you can walk around your restaurant and see that bar live in your environment, which to me is pretty cool, and I think takes design to the next level. So right here, you can see this is the bar that we designed in AR. And it shows how you can not only look at the equipment from left to right, you can actually walk behind the equipment, which to me is an awesome, awesome feature. Really get an understanding for the space it's going to take up, how it's going to fit in your environment. Is it going to interfere with certain things? This is another service that we offer for free on any project. So if you are working on a project with us and you want us to create it in AR, just tell us, tell our sales team. We'll design it in 24 hours, send it back to you. Go to the job site with an iPad, with an iPhone, whatever you have that has a camera, drop that AR right into your environment. So
yeah, it's pretty cool and really a cutting edge. I mean, when have we ever had these kind of resources when designing our bars? I think this is just, it really speaks to the commitment to the community that we have and your family has, Kyle. So this is awesome.
Yeah, and Troy, kind of get going on that. It's not like we get to the AR and VR and go, okay, we're done. We've done it. The future bar design is here. We're always looking at the next step. So we're already working right now on haptic feedback. There's these gloves that are built for haptic feedback that actually give you the sense that you're interacting with the equipment in VR. That to me is pretty critical for the VR bartender training, because it will allow them to feel the glasses, to feel the equipment as they work and simulate it even more than it currently is. That's one. Another is called projection mapping. That's another cool piece of technology we're working with. That's where it will actually project your bar in 3D in the environment without an iPad or phone. It will just project it into that space. That is also very cool because multiple people could look at it at once without being on a camera. And I think that's just another really, really cool feature that you'll see from us pretty soon as the technology continues to advance. So we've touched on this already, but we want to just give you a more all-encompassing view. The Crown Bartender Ambassador Program was established to create a more collaborative, experience-driven design process for our clients. I've always thought, for years, it was crazy to me that everyone in the bar design industry, in bar equipment, was having bar designers who were just working in an office all day, design these beautiful bars. And it's like, well, hey, that's great. Yeah, they're really experienced and they're doing it every day, but they're not behind a bar every single day. And so that's going to create systemic problems in bar design. So what our whole methodology is bars designed by bartenders for bartenders. And to truly do that, we had to establish a strong ambassador program with a really strong group of experienced bartenders who we could work with, collaborate, and design with on a daily basis. And that's where this program came out of. It's Leo DeGroff, Sean Kenyon, Troy Clarke, who is on the webinar with me right now, Tyler Hudgens, and Jacques, and all of them are experienced, award-winning bartenders who bring a lot of value to our design process and who can be integrated into any design of yours that you're working on at the moment at no added charge.
Yeah, and just to kind of reiterate that, listen, we understand that a lot of you that are bar managers or people taking over programs or looking to renovate your bar have lots of experience, maybe just as much as us or more than us. And look to this program as a sounding board, a resource, an extra set of eyes to look at something. We're not here to tell you how to do your bar, or just try to think that it's only our way or whatever. We really want to have a collaborative effort and help you achieve that 100% success that you want for your program. So, Leo covers the New York area, Sean covers the Midwest, I cover New England, Tyler covers the Southeast, and Jacques covers the West Coast. The 100% of this goal is to really help you achieve that end goal to your bar program or beverage program, whatever it may be. This is another service that is complimentary. There's no upcharge to the equipment. There's no upcharge for us coming in and helping and assisting. And it's really just that extra set of eyes to help you achieve every one of your goals when you're designing your bar, and make sure that you didn't miss something or didn't know that a certain piece of equipment was produced, as we have a more intimate understanding of what can be produced, what's already in production, and things that are coming down the pipeline that maybe are going to be coming out that may be in time with your place being open. So there's a lot of different benefits that can come from this. So we look forward to working with everyone and helping them achieve their goals. So
yeah, and if you go to our website, on the homepage, there's an area that says World Class Ambassador Program. If you click on that, it will bring you to the page that shows each of our ambassadors. It shows their bios, and there's even a button where you can request a call with them to discuss bar design, beverage programs, anything bartender training programs, anything that you're interested in, you can do it right on our website. Moving from there, we touched on this earlier, so I'll just real quick go through this. This is just a better, more visual example of modular bar die. From the bartender perspective, it's pretty nice because you have stainless steel sealed directly to the floor. Sanitation, that's obviously great, but also it hides your drains and plumbing lines. It also prevents garbage buildup from going underneath the equipment. And the nice thing with mod bars, you can get it in any size. As you can see in the bottom left, you can do circular. We've done boat shaped, serpentine shaped. Anything that you're looking for, we can do a modular bar die. So now for the exciting part. Next to come from Crown. So these are new items that are in development that we've been working together with our ambassadors, with customers, and with our engineering department internally at Crown to create. These are some pretty exciting solutions to what we feel are real problems behind the bar right now, and we'll jump right into it. First one is mobile bar. A lot of you are familiar with mobile bars. So there's nothing new there. We understand that. The problem, and what we've seen, is all these mobile bars are designed with very, very standard layouts. There's no flexibility to them, and they're not really achieving a zero-step design. They're sort of leaving things out so that people have to settle with just a basic mobile bar. We don't want to do that. So what we've done is we come to you with a fully configurable mobile bar. You can put any pieces you want. You can change the order around. And then on top of that, the millwork is completely custom. Whatever you want, we will build for you. We're partnered with a local millwork company who does awesome work. As you can see on the right here, that's just a quick rendering, but that's a mobile bar we're currently doing for a client who wanted it to have a restoration hardware type look. We were able to build that out. We'll assemble it all here in the factory with the millwork pre-applied, and we'll ship it directly to the customer. As you can see on the left side, this station really is all encompassing. You have a liquor display, 3 separate storage compartments for ice. a liquid CO2 froster built right into the top, garnish storage, wine bottle storage, and then you have dump sink, dipper well, cutting board, everything right in that small 76-inch mobile bar. So again, we're taking that flexible approach and we're really, really focusing on the style and the look of the mobile bar as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people on this call can relate to the frustrations of either working in a catering aspect, maybe in a hotel banquet bar. There's so many different scenarios that we could put up on these mobile bars. It's probably one of the most frustrating bars to work behind, right? There's no place to wash your hands. Most of them don't have hand sinks, right? We can build a hand sink in. Most of them don't have any place to have ice storage, for large format ice. If you want to do some cool things, maybe you're bringing a freezer, maybe it's on the ground, you got to bend down every single time. We can put an ice vault in. There can be power that you can run power to these mobile bars, and now you can have a freezer running the entire time and chilling some of your batch cocktails or your vermouths or whatever it is. We really see an opportunity in mobile bars to be more functional. Why should the guest that's coming to these large events or events in different really cool areas, if you own a catering company and you're going to all different remote locations and doing stuff, why not have your own mobile bar that allows you to execute the same quality cocktails that you get in a really great restaurant atmosphere, right? And so we feel that there's such an opportunity. The other thing is, as Kyle mentioned earlier, is you go on the internet and you can scroll through and you see they're kind of boring. Bars, they all look the same. They're made from most of them are made from plastic or really cheap Formica, or just doesn't have the style that maybe your brand does or your restaurant does or your space does. Now you get to really create the mobile bar and the look that you want instead of being sold something else and then trying to modify it afterwards when you get it, right? So we really feel that this offers some real solutions. And think about it, how many mobile bars, when you're working a mobile bar, has chilled glassware? Now you have the ability to have chilled, sanitized glassware on demand for any customer that you're doing. So I think that those are all some really crucial things that we can help better the experience for our guests and solve some real opportunities for bar owners, restaurant owners, catering companies, hotels, whatever it may be, to really create the next level experience, because the people attending these events are the future people booking new events with us or joining us in our restaurants or whatever it may be. So we think this is a really fun project and excited to help you take that to the next level.
So this is a really, really cool piece of equipment we've been working on for quite a while. We're giving you a little sneak peek. It's about to release. Right now, it's just called the double sink, but there's a lot more to it. So we're doing a little contest, and whoever comes up with the most creative name, if we end up using it, we will send you a free craft cocktail mixology kit. That's going to come with muddlers, peelers, shakers, everything that you need to create a quality craft cocktail. We'll send it to you at no charge, obviously. So if you do have any ideas for a name on this unit, submit them to jen@crown.com. A little breakdown on this unit. There's a big problem behind bars of wasted space or space being needed for sinks. Now, sinks are not wasted space. Obviously, sanitation is critical. But do you need to take up 4 feet, 4 feet just to put in 2 sinks? Is that really needed? So traditionally, it is, because there's no other solution to it. But what we did is we built a solution where in the same 24-inch front to back footprint that we normally build our equipment in, you have 2 sinks stacked. The front one is going to be your dump sink, which uses a foot pedal operated faucet. The back one is going to be a hand washing station. And in there you have soap and an electronic faucet. So the entire setup is touchless, which is great for sanitation. It's all built into that 24-inch front to back depth. On the left side, you have a glass maker in the front, a dipper well right behind it, and there's paper towel storage underneath, as well as a cabinet. So this is a really, really good unit to cram a bunch of awesome critical features into one small space, so you're not wasting a ton of space on these necessary features. Again, this is something we're about to release, so keep an eye out for it. This is something that will be available on all projects and can be even used as a retrofit for one of your existing locations.
Yeah, and also keep in mind with this, the flexibility. So if you need the dipper well and the tin rinser on the right, you can move it to the right. You need it on the left, you can put it on the left. So there's a lot of flexibility. And think about it, you have two stations left side by side. You can put this right in the middle. You can have a shared dump sink, hand sink. You become more efficient. And you know, these are the things. We don't want to just put one sink. How many of us just put one sink there and then put other sinks down, and you know, now everybody's using the dump sink and the hand sink? You know, we want to really make sure that you can achieve the sanitation levels that health codes are requiring, but also be efficient behind the bar. So this really allows you to have both options right there, hit on everything, and be as efficient as possible, and really start to achieve more of that zero-step process. So really excited about that, and really excited to see what kind of creative names you come out with, and you know, hopefully we can get that full kit out to everyone. It's basically everything you need to operate at a well, and all the tools and all the equipment is produced by my company. So we're excited to be able to share that stuff with someone with that really creative name to go into the catalog and launch this new product.
So we went through all the new stuff that we're working on today. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of exciting stuff that we're also working on. So by no means is this the end to our future of bar design. There's more every single month. Definitely keep an eye out for that. Troy and I are going to be conducting a live Q&A. So any questions you can think of, you can start putting them together. We'll be available. We'll answer every single question that's thrown our way. But again, just keep in mind, there's a lot more to come. In the meantime, a great tool you can start utilizing to get a better feel for our equipment is BarFlex 3D right on our website. Like I said, you can also schedule time with any of our ambassadors right on our website. And we really, really appreciate all your time today. We're excited about this. We hope you are as well. And thank you again for joining.
Thank you, everyone.